Here now to weigh in on all this, and we've got a slew of other headlines emanating from the swamp. He's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, friend of mine, and a fellow Buckeye, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, back on the program. Jim, it is so nice to see you. It's been too long. How you been, my friend?
Yep, I'm doing fine.
All right, let's kick off with Arctic frost, then we'll get into J6, sure. We'll get into the shutdown, we'll get into all kinds of stuff going on at the hands of Democrats. We knew Arctic frost was big. We knew that JoJo, if he even knew, and the autopen, who knows, he probably didn't know, that people were weaponizing his DOJ and his FBI to go after folks like me, you, Steve Bannon, Trump, Republicans. Now there's more proof. Fill us in.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. As with most of these investigations we do, the one thing we get wrong is it's always worse than we thought. And this was much more expansive, more broad, more pervasive, more obnoxious than we originally thought. It wasn't just 8 United States senators that they got the phone records of. It wasn't just a current sitting member of Congress, Scott Perry, who they took his phone from. It was much bigger than that. As you pointed out, hundreds of subpoenas going after all kinds of people, subpoenas for communications, bank. They got Dan, they got the bank records of Dan Scavino. Dan Scavino was an advisor to the president, handled all his social media accounts. Why do you go get his bank records, for goodness sake? That makes no sense. They went after Mark Meadows. There's an email in there where it looks like it's a source talking to an FBI agent, where it says Mark Meadows, the chief of staff to the president of the United States, was engaged in treasonous activity. The most ridiculous things I've ever seen. So this is how bad it was. And this is why we want to talk to Jack Smith. We've talked to 2 of his deputies, Mr. Bratt and Mr. Wyndham. Both of them took the fifth 71 and 73 times respectively. They took the fifth to questions like, was this political? Were you going after President Trump for political reasons? Take the fifth. How about how many other people did you surveil in addition to the 8 United States senators? Took the fifth. So now we want to talk to Jack Smith and find out everything we can about how ridiculous this entire investigation was.
Okay, now, so that, of course, was in the, quote, overturning of the election, because that's what they're saying these people were involved with. They were trying to overturn the election. Now, fast forward, January 6th occurs, yada, yada, yada. They made a select committee. Yeah. Let's talk about that. And the letters now that prove that the unselect committee that was very partisan, even though there were Republicans on it, disgraced Republicans, it shows they were working. Can you explain to me and my viewers how an independent counsel is supposed to work? Are you guys supposed to be hand-in-hand feeding him information like the J6 committee was?
No, but that's what happened. They turned over the actual transcripts. Who knows what else they gave to Jack Smith. I mean, again, remember, this is the same Jack Smith who got the gag order imposed on President Trump. Mm-hmm. This is the same Jack Smith in the other part of the special counsel investigation, the classified records. This is the same Jack Smith who raided President Trump's home. This is the same Jack Smith whose team pressured and looks like what some may call a bribe, a defendant's lawyer, when they said to Stanley Woodward, we thought you were interested in this judge position. We didn't know you were a Trump guy. He's the lawyer for one of the defendants that they're going after. This is the same Jack Smith whose deputies wouldn't answer our questions. This is the same Jack Smith who spied on 8 United States senators. This is the same Jack Smith whose deputies, prior to becoming part of the special counsel team, were working on Arctic frost and took the phone of Scott Perry, a sitting member of Congress. This is all that took place, and now we learn it was even bigger than all that.
And so now Jack Smith's going to be probed, Jim, or at least I hope he is.
Well, we've already sent a letter to his counsel saying we want to talk to him, and we want him to come in a deposition. We want to get the information from him. We want to ask him some of the same questions his deputies would not answer. We want to ask him questions about the new information we've uncovered. So we hope that's going to happen soon. As soon as we get this government open, we can get back to doing that kind of work.
And we'll get on that one next then. I had some other ones for you, but let's go to the closure. Senate Democrats, 13 votes. They still can't reopen it, even with 3 or 4 Democrats coming over to side with Republicans even. They still can't get it done. The Schumer shutdown lingers on, Jim.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully common sense will prevail at some point. I mean, I've said all along for, 4 weeks now that this is really a debate between Chuck Schumer and Chuck Schumer, because he voted for the bill. He voted for the bill 6 months ago. It's the same darn bill, same spending levels that everyone agreed to back then. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it because I believe, and this has been talked about a lot, but I think it's just the truth, I think the hard left has control of that party, and he's nervous about the radical left that now controls the Democrat Party and potentially getting a primary in a couple years when he would be running for re-election. So I think that's what's driving this, and makes no sense to me. I don't think it makes any sense to the American people, as evidenced by some of the polling that's been, I saw this clip, some polling that says it's not this idea that we're standing firm, we're in the common sense position, and Americans understand that.
Well, Jim, I saw a poll on, ready for this? CNN, just yesterday, day before, that said Republican approval by Americans up 5%, and then it said congressional Republicans, specifically like in the House and dealing with the shutdown, and you guys are up like 6% approval, and Democrats down. So you're right. I think Americans on both sides out are getting who committed the shutdown. Couple more real quick for you. The autopen, your friend Mr. Comer over in the oversight committee, pretty much saying that maybe all of Joe Biden's signatures that came from the autopen may be null and void now, and y'all are looking into this. Fill us in, Jim.
Yeah, they issued a report from the committee that they then sent to the Attorney General. We'll see what the Justice Department does. I think the American people understand this one too. We all saw it in that debate back in the summer of 24. That unfortunately Joe Biden just wasn't up to the task. I mean, I'll never forget when he said he had an 8 handicap on the golf course, and President Trump said, "Are you kidding me? I've seen your swing." Everyone knows that the guy who, couldn't get off the bicycle without falling down, didn't have an 8 handicap, wasn't up to the job. I don't take any pleasure in saying that. It was unfortunate that we had a president who just frankly wasn't capable of the task that's required. So the country saw that. And from that point on, it seems to me any pardons, any commutations, any executive orders that he issued, he said there was a process in place, but the Oversight Committee's investigation says, well, there really wasn't a standardized process.
Some of his staffers were just using the autopen and not telling the sitting president of the United States they were using it. It can be used, but he has to authorize it.
Right. So you have his mental state that was on full display for the country in that debate. Then you have the lack of any process or protocols that are followed when you use the autopen after that fact. I think that's a concern. And so that's what we're saying to the Justice Department. You may want to give this a hard look and see if these things are actually, and then you think about the people he actually pardoned. Some of the people in the January 6th committee you were talking about, and a host of others.
Yeah, there was 2,000. All right, final one. I know you got to run, Jim. You were talking about referrals to the DOJ. I can go down the names. I'll just let you take it for this last minute. Brennan, you already referred. You got Comey, Bolton, Wray. There's all these bad actors, right, that were at the CIA, that were at the FBI under Obama. Some trailed over into Trump 1.0. Some worked under JoJo. A lot of them corrupt, whether it was Russia collusion, going after Catholics, going after Republicans, you name it. This is going to continue, I hope, right? You're going to keep investigating these guys that were bad actors, that were the head of these agencies.
Yeah, and look, we don't do many of these referrals. It's got to be there. And with John Brennan, which we did last week, it was certainly there. We believe he lied to us, violated 18 U.S.C. 1001. He said he was not involved with the dossier, didn't want it included in the intelligence community assessment. Tulsi Gabbard declassifies a House intelligence report that says exactly the opposite. And you know well, Dan, you're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath talking to Congress.
You think?
And that's what John Brennan, we believe, did. There's one example that's pointed out in that intelligence community report that she declassified. It says a CIA official goes up to Mr. Brennan and says, Mr. Brennan, there's no real underlying intelligence to support this dossier. It just doesn't hold up. It shouldn't be in the intelligence community report, in the intelligence community assessment. And Brennan's response was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? Displaying, I think, fully his motive of just wanting to get the president and create this predicate for the special counsel. So that's why we referred him. We think he lied to us, and definitely more importantly, we think he lied to the American people.
Congressman Jim Jordan, Chairman of the Judiciary, you keep fighting, Jim. Love to hear it.
We will.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Take care.
Take care.
Yep.